American films at the French seaside. The 44th American Film Festival is in full swing in the Normandy town of Deauville. Morgan Freeman, Elle Fanning and Sarah Jessica Parker are among the stars who are flying in for this annual celebration. And France 24's own American film critic, Lisa Nesselson, has been going to the festival for the past 25 years, and she joins us now from Deauville for more. How has the event changed, Lisa, over all these years?
Well, you could legitimately ask, why in the world does Europe need a festival devoted exclusively to American films, right? American films have pretty much colonized the planet. But what is glorious about this event, and this is a particularly good year for the independent competition of 14 titles, 6 of which are directed by women, by the way, is that that the people who started this festival wanted to pay tribute to old Hollywood, to people whose careers flourished in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Those people are pretty much gone now, or the directors and actors, or too frail to travel. And so they have renewed the spirit of the festival by creating awards and tributes and homages to young actors and directors who have amazing track records at very early ages. So there's been a tribute to Elle Fanning, who at just 20 has appeared in dozens of films with some of the top names in cinema and is an extraordinary actress. Shailene Woodley, and then on the other end of the spectrum, a tribute for the second time in the history of the festival to the wonderful Morgan Freeman with, as you said, Sarah Jessica Parker in there in the mix.
And Jason Clarke was honoured on opening night. We know him from Zero Dark 30, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Terminator Genesis. But he impressed you as Ted Kennedy in the real-life historical drama Chappaquiddick.
Enormously. He looks very much like him. He's more or less mastered that distinctive Massachusetts accent. This is not a story that is well known to Europeans, but I was 13 years old when it was happening. On July 18th, 1969, Senator Ted Kennedy was part of a regatta off the coast of Massachusetts, and they also had a party for the women who had worked on the campaign of his late brother Bobby Kennedy, who of course was campaigning for president when he was assassinated a year before that. It was extraordinarily the same weekend that the Apollo 11 mission was headed to the moon. And of course, his other brother, John F. Kennedy, had decided that the United States was going to try to go to the moon. He was cut down before he ever got to see that happen. What happened? Ted Kennedy was out in a car with Mary Jo Kopechne, one of the women who had worked on Bobby's campaign. They drove off a road. The car was upside down in a pond. Teddy Kennedy managed to get out of the car somehow. Mary Jo Kopechne drowned. Of course, there go the family's hopes for him to be president someday. And this is a movie about spin and PR and the power of television, because his father, the incredibly powerful Joseph Kennedy, assembles a group of men who helped spin the Bay of Pigs, for example, to figure out how this man can not only come out of this without going to jail for possible involuntary manslaughter, but also still have a career.
Okay, well, let's take a look at Jason Clarke in Chappaquiddick.
Teddy, if they find that your negligence contributed to this girl's death, that's involuntary manslaughter.
And if there's even a whisper that you're not as clean as Mother Teresa, you will be charged. And there's not a lot of senators that are charged with manslaughter that go on to become president.
Well, I understand, Bob.
That is to say nothing about being convicted. If you are even indicted, it won't matter what verdict comes back. The court of public opinion will have your head on a stake.
Lisa, another film that's based on a true story that's being shown in Deauville is American Animals.
I found this incredibly entertaining and interesting and educational. It starts out with the words on the screen, "This is not based on a true story," and then the letters "not based on" fall away, and it says, "This is a true story." It's an incredibly astute combination of documentary interviews with the real protagonists and dramatic reenactments. And basically, in around 2004, 4 college students, guys who knew each other, discovered discovered that in the library of their university, among the holdings were incredibly valuable, incredibly rare books. Audubon, the man who did amazing watercolors of birds, and also a very rare Darwin volume. So they decided to just go in and steal those books and try to fence them in Europe and get millions and millions of dollars. Of course, everything that could go wrong did, and it's an incredible story of male camaraderie, the things you'll do because the other people around you are doing it, even if deep down you're smarter than that and you know nothing good can come of this.
Okay, well, this is from American Animals, a true story.
It pains me to see you embarrass your father.
But you don't know what it is. You're in, or you're out. That thing that could make your life special. You're in, or you're out. You're in, or you're out. How can I tell you if I'm in or I'm out without you telling me the first thing about what I might be in or out of? This would be something dangerous and very exciting.
Lisa, the next film we're talking about that's being shown in Deauville involves the viewer watching people do jigsaw puzzles. Tell us about Puzzle.
Well, I know that doesn't sound interesting, but man, is this a great movie. It stars Kelly Macdonald playing an absolutely submissive, accommodating, semi-mousy American suburban housewife and mother. Quite a switch from her character in Trainspotting 20 years ago. And she accidentally finds out, after a birthday gift, that she has a phenomenal natural gift for solving jigsaw puzzles in record time. And it turns out there is such a thing as competitive puzzling with prizes. So in the course of the movie, she evolves from being this woman who has not found her own voice in any way in her own life to someone who asserts herself. And the director, Mark Turteltaub, who has been a very successful producer until now with films like Little Miss Sunshine, got on stage and said, this is a rare film in that it centers on a female character over the age of 40 and does it ever. I found it incredibly satisfying and fun.
Okay, well, this is from Puzzle with Kelly Macdonald.
What's wrong with you?
Come on, Dad.
No, I slave all day for this family. I come home and you're making puzzles?
Look, I'm gonna make dinner for everyone, okay? Dad, just go upstairs and take a shower. I'll take care of it.
No, this is bullshit.
If you leave now, don't come back. Finished. I'll make you dinner now, dear.
Hobby you and I should take up, Lisa. Another film that revolves around a female character is Nancy, that stars Andrea Riseborough. Tell us about that.
This is a real standout for me. Andrea Riseborough is absolutely a chameleon. She played Wallace Simpson for Madonna. She played an IRA hit person in Shadow Dancer. She was recently Stalin's daughter in The Death of Stalin. Here she plays a 35-year-old American woman who lives with a cat and her ailing mother. And she wants to be a writer, but the main writing she does is fabulating, fibbing, and making things up in a blog online. And what happens is that she sees on the news that a still grieving couple 30 years later after their 5-year-old daughter disappeared from a mall, and there's an artist's rendering of what that girl might look like today, and Nancy realizes, well, she could pass for that woman, and so decides to go to their home and say, you know, it's weird, I never had a birth certificate, my mom was kind of weird, I never knew my father, I think maybe I'm your lost daughter. And it's absolutely riveting stuff. The director, Christina Chow, this is a first film, and she pointed out that the crew for this movie was 80% female and 50% of the crew was people of color. And this made a different atmosphere on the set and an amazingly good film. It will be coming out via e-cinema here in France on September 11th, has already had its theatrical run in the US, but will be available on platforms like iTunes and Amazon on September 14th. And it's really, really a performance and a story worth looking at.
And Lisa, I've been to this festival a good few times, but you've been going for a quarter of a century. Tell us about some of your highlights.
Well, I think my highlights have always been seeing movies under absolutely ideal conditions with over 1,000 people. There are a lot of people here in town who have never been to America and have formed all their ideas about my native land from watching our movies, from the weird, oddball, independent ones to the blockbusters. And sometimes it's really fun to overhear conversations in the lobby or in the ladies' room because people have some bizarre ideas about where I come from based on our films. Also, the chance to meet some of the winners of the literary award over the years. This is a prize that's gone to people like the late Gore Vidal and the late Norman Mailer, but I got to meet Bud Schulberg when he was still alive, and have a long talk with Michael Cimino of Heaven's Gate fame, and that's also something that the festival takes very seriously. American literature, American cinema, American creativity, and whatever the condition between France and the U.S. at any given moment, this is a place on earth where everybody celebrates the Stars and Stripes and the USA.
That's great news, Lisa Nesselson. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the festival, and we'll see you back here in the studio next week. Now, in addition to the premieres and the competition, there's a documentary lineup, and we're going to leave you with Kevin Macdonald's Whitney Houston documentary that's being shown at the Deauville American Film Festival. It's on until this weekend. To see our interview with the filmmaker, go to our website at france24.com and go to the Encore section. We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.